Hello and welcome to the RPG Blender, where we give lesser played games and forgotten settings the roll the dice they deserve. I'm your host, Game Master George, and today we'll be taking just a little time to talk about, well, what prompted me to even start making videos. The problem that pushed me to try to give these other games a chance to shine. This won't be terribly long or deep video, it's just a problem I keep seeing occur, and I wanted to address why I think it's a problem and how it can be addressed. Now, if you're a viewer of this channel, you probably think that I dislike Dungeons & Dragons. After all, the basis of this channel is trying to help people move away from Dungeons & Dragons. But the truth is, I actually quite enjoy playing D&D.
The deception! The betrayal!
It isn't my favorite game to run, but as a player, I always have a good time. So then, why do I do it? It's because the problem with Dungeons & Dragons is not Dungeons & Dragons itself. The real problem is when people insist on D&D as the answer to every need. Are you looking for a game to play a horror campaign set in the Holy Roman Empire? Someone will be there recommending D&D. How about a modern-day X-Files or SCP game? Sure thing, you'll find D&D there. A low-crunch fantasy game for people who don't enjoy having lots of stats to track? Yep, you'll see it there too. The idea is, D&D is a generic enough system mechanically that you can use them to run anything you like, and they aren't wrong. At its base, D&D is a simple roll and add system. Roll a d20, add a modifier based on your skill or attribute, compare it to another number. That simple base mechanic can be used to simulate anything. But just because something works doesn't make it the best way to do something. You probably already know what I mean, but let me explain as simply as I can. This is a screwdriver. With this one tool, I can hang paintings, attach a baby gate to a wall, or put together a desk. It can do all those things, but so can a screw gun. And the screw gun will do some of these tasks easier. I never want to repeat the hell that was building this stupid changing table / dresser with just a hand screwdriver. My hand was cramped for days after that, but using a screw gun would have made it trivial. So while I could have and did build this with just a screwdriver, if I had taken the time to find the right tool for the job, I would have saved myself literal pain. And the same goes for tabletop role-playing games. You could use Dungeons & Dragons to run any game concept you like, and there may be tools or supplements available to help you with homebrewing changes to fit your idea. But if you would take the time you would spend making those customizations and instead use it to find and learn a game that already fits the concept, you'll have a better time. Now, there are three main oppositions usually offered when suggesting someone try a new system for their idea. First, and in my opinion, the most valid one, is the cost of acquiring new games. As someone who regularly purchases new TTRPGs and backs Kickstarters, yeah, I know firsthand how expensive it gets. With D&D, every book you purchase is going to run you $30 to $60, more if you're picking up some of the box sets. And that isn't even getting into the absolutely criminal pricing for digital content. And yes, other systems can be expensive as well. But for every Exalted running you $60 to, $140 for a physical book, there are smaller games like Never Going Home or The Skeletons. Still not insignificant, but so many games also have PDF-only prices which are even in the under $10 range. Very accessible and so much cheaper than getting that new D&D supplement. But if that is still too much, there are also a large number of free or pay-what-you-want games available on DriveThruRPG and itch.io. So cost can be an issue, a very valid one, but there are ways to lessen that impact while still finding a great game for your idea. The second objection typically stems from the difficulty of learning other systems. Again, I understand the issues that come from trying to learn a new game. Not everyone enjoys the process of reading through rules like I do, and that is part of why I made this channel, providing tutorials for these other games. And I'm not alone. There are a fair number of channels providing tutorials on a multitude of games. Obviously, they're all of differing quality. We can't all be the great Seth Skorkowski, but even if they don't present things perfectly, these tutorials can help you figure out a new game. And even without a tutorial, there are tricks you can use to learn a game on your own. For me, I learn by testing. I make a character, and as the rules are explained, I use that character to test them out. With a pre-gen, you get a list of numbers, but when making it yourself, you see how they interact. Then, if I run into a mechanic I can't test with the current character, I make a new one which focuses on that mechanic. For example, I would normally start by making a simple melee character. So if the game has a magic system, once I got to that section of the rules, I would go back and make a magic user. In this way, I'm interacting with the rules, not just reading words on a page. But that's what works for me. And I didn't figure that out with my first game. As I've continued to study them, I've built out my tricks through experience. It's like what they say about languages. The first is the hardest, and after that, it gets easier. No idea if that's true or not, I'm terrible at languages, but I can say it is true with games. So my recommendation here would be to take a look at some of those free games I mentioned earlier. Even if they aren't a game you want to run immediately, use them to practice learning. As for the third, it is unfortunately a bit more final. These are the people who simply insist that they do not want to play anything other than D&D. And to them, okay. If all you want to do is play the same game over and over, that's your choice. I may not agree with your decision, but that doesn't matter. The right game is the one that you will have the most fun with. I want to find the right game with the right systems to run my concept. That is how I will maximize my fun. But if you just want to sit down with a game you already know inside and out, maybe spice it up with some homebrewing, that's your call. To be clear, I firmly believe that if you were willing to try out a new game, you could find one that fits your concept and style better than by homebrewing. But the only opinions that matter are the ones rolling dice at your table. Now, before we close here, I need to make a confession. I've lied to you. Everything that I have discussed here is, in my view, valid. And I'm sure you've seen this very thing happen if you've ever perused recommendation threads. D&D is truly inescapable at this point. But you see, the questions and recommendations I showed at the beginning came from a group specifically looking to promote non-D&D games. The recommendations were not for Dungeons & Dragons. They were, however, all for the same game, despite the highly disparate requests. That game being GURPS. Is it really any different to recommend the same generic system for every request than it is to push for D&D? I posit that no. The game may be different, and it may not be as trendy as D&D or as fun to hate on, but the central problem is still the same. You could find a better game to play instead of hacking a generic system. Now, I can already see the angry comments being written talking about how GURPS was literally built for that purpose, to be able to play any game you want. And yes, you are correct. You can absolutely use the GURPS system to run any game you want. You can get supplements to help you run any genre, and it is designed to be hacked how you like. But is that really all that different from buying a new D&D supplement or homebrewing? Do you really believe that you can hack GURPS or any other generic system into not just something that works, but a better experience than a game that was specifically built for that concept? Like with my criticism of D&D, if this is your fun, if you just love sitting down and spending hours crunching and twisting GURPS into your ideal game, then that is your fun. I've done it myself. I spent months building out my GURPS customizations, enraptured by the free-form magic system I was building, and after all of that, the game only lasted a few sessions before real life prevented us from playing it again. Only afterwards was I able to sit down and realize I could have just played Ars Magica, and all that time that I spent tweaking, testing, inventing could have been spent just playing. So to the people who stick to hacking their single system, whether it's GURPS, D&D, Cypher System, or any other game, I'd love to know, why? Is it the cost of getting new games? The difficulty in learning them? Are you unable to find the specific mechanics that you want for your concept? Or do you just love your single game so much that you can't bring yourself to play something else? Or Is there another reason I haven't considered? So what's the point of this video? Maybe nothing. Just something that's been nagging at my mind for some time. The honest truth is, you're unlikely to get someone to switch if they are that ingrained in their system. But when somebody comes to you looking for a recommendation, consider whether the generic game you want to recommend is really the best fit. A bad first step out of the D&D waters could push them right back in, so guide them to the right system, not just a system. Well, that's my rant. Thanks for sticking around, buddy. If you liked the video, consider leaving a like. Disliked it? Just click that dislike and send me into a depression spiral. But most of all, I do actually want to hear from people on this topic. Do you agree with my comparisons, or am I wildly off base? Leave a comment and let me know your thoughts on the matter. I could be completely wrong. Oh, and of course, drop that subscription if you want to see more of me, for some reason. And if you'd like more, perhaps because this piqued your interest in other games, I've got a video talking about games to try if you loved Ravenloft, or maybe you'd like to check out one of our tutorials. Anyway, thank you again, and remember, there's gaming outside the Forgotten Realms. And GURPS.